A few months ago, after knowing Eckhart Tolle for a while and studying the books, I woke up and I suddenly got it. I understood suddenly how thought was just an illusory thing. And how thought is responsible for, if not all, most of the suffering we experience. And then I suddenly felt like I was looking at these thoughts from another perspective. And I wondered, who is it that's aware that I'm thinking? And suddenly I was thrown into this expansive, amazing feeling of freedom from myself, from my problems. I saw that I was bigger than what I do. I was bigger than my body. I was everything and everyone. I was no longer a fragment of the universe. I was the universe. And ever since that day, I've been trying to get back there. It's like riding a wave. Sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm off. But at least I know where I want to go. And I want to take as many people with me as I possibly can, because the feeling is amazing. You know, it's our intention. Our intention is everything. Nothing happens on this planet without it. Not one single thing has ever been accomplished without intention. So I started thinking about my life, and I started thinking about this conference and what we're about. And I looked back and I thought, well, I was two people my whole life. I was in the living room entertaining people, being a monkey, you know, doing my thing for the company and trying to relieve my mother, who was suffering. She had rheumatoid arthritis and phlebitis and everything under the sun that was nagging at her, and she was depressed. And I wanted her to be free. And I wanted her to realize that her life was worth something because she gave birth to someone who was worth something. And then I would go into my room and I would sit with a legal pad. I was a little kid. And I would sit there and I would try to figure out what it meant, what it was all about. Why are we here? What is this? One day, I read something from Buddha that said that all spirituality is about relieving suffering. And I suddenly realized that's what I'm doing in the other room. and I'm aligned. You know, my purpose is aligned with this. So I felt incredibly lucky. I lose sight of that all the time. I get caught up in different concerns and ego concerns. But I'm so lucky to be a part of this community and to do something that is of value. It was definitely an important moment in the process where I found myself subjugating Jim Carrey for Andy Kaufman and Tony Clifton, and then at the end of it looking for Jim Carrey again and having trouble finding him. And at a certain point I realized, hey, wait a second, you know, if it's so easy to lose Jim Carrey, who the hell is Jim Carrey? Or I was kind of watching from another place. And there's been a series of kind of awakenings I've had in my life, and you know, people chalk it up to depression and all that stuff. I think that, you know, grief and sadness and all those things are the ticket home to nothing. I think that was a part of the process. There's been several other awakenings, and yet still I have a lot of egoic attachments that pull my attention and focus.
This notion.
You said you've kind of disassociated yourself with Jim Carrey, but does, you know, everyone
we see your face. There's so many iconic roles in so many of our favorite movies, from Eternal Sunshine, Dumb and Dumber, and everything.
That has nothing to do with Jim Carrey.
That has nothing to do with Jim
no,
Carrey.
Nothing at all to do with Jim Carrey. That's just what happened, and it is wonderful, and there's insane gratitude around it, and wonder around it. How did it happen? And fulfillment from it, and I look back at it and I see something beautiful that rose out of nothing and happened for no one. You know, it just was.
Like, it was almost like every 6 months to a year we saw this like huge Jim Carrey comedy. Do you miss that?
No, I honestly, there's nothing but this. You're my universe. You know what I mean? So I'm not looking forward and I'm not looking backward, and I'm not, you know, the aspect of this that's backward to me is like a contemporary thing. What's good about this movie? It's not a look back. It's a contemporary concept. It's what's happening right now inside everybody. Is they're going, who am I? And they're depressed. You know, a lot of people, because they're trying to hold up an image in the world. And that's what depression is. You know, people go like, oh, Jim's been depressed and stuff. Well, yeah, I was depressed when I was trying to be the Wizard of Oz instead of the sweaty guy behind the curtain. But now I know that Oz is the character, you know, and you know, I think that everybody deals with that. Everybody walks around and they go like, why am I depressed? Well, it's because you're trying to be something for the world, you know? I think that we're all, you know, we're all trying to add things to ourselves so that we can finally define ourselves, and then everybody will get us and they'll go, okay, this is what you are. And then if you actually get there, you will find it so empty that you'll realize that's really not what it's about. It's about not only, you know, just going with the flow, but it's about not taking it personally. You know, it's like the difference between a house and my house is a world of difference, and it's the my that's the problem, you know. So you can do all this without the my involved. You know, you can do it in a way that it's not, life isn't happening to you, it's happening for, you know, for the good of everyone. It's just it's a play. It's a giant, you know, field of consciousness dancing for itself, and you're here to make me happy, and it's making itself happy, you know.